Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight, we have another fantastic match here at MSA. We have Team Nexus going against Bob's Baddies. I am joined, as always, by my co-commentator, Osgos. How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. It should be a wonderful for quitted. Both these teams, great talents. I'm ready to see what they can do tonight and ready to watch this game.
Absolutely. As far as the lineups for these games go, obviously we're looking at Bob's Baddies. Starting off, we're going to be looking at Bob's Baddies. We currently have perspectives from KD Talks, Melanor, and McJoseph readily available. Who are we seeing on the side of Team Nexus that is currently sharing their screens?
Right now, it's only Joel.
Okay.
It is not a secret perspective, though.
Ooh, very interesting.
Very interesting indeed. It does look like he's playing beater. They did try to get their first Q snipe in, but does not look like it seemed to have worked. So, I mean, lucky we're getting these out of the way pretty quickly. They do have a couple extra people in there. Once we get their group back, I will let you know of their full lineup, because at this point, obviously, we only really know of Jolba, but they do seem to be getting back together.
Oh, goodness. So, what are we thinking as far as predictions for the game? How do we think that this game is going to be going?
Honestly, I can definitely see a game 3 coming out of this matchup. Both of these teams are very good. They both play with each other a good amount, so I can see these kind of going back and forth. It's hard to say though which team is going to come out on top. They both have a lot of talent on both sides of the field, so it's really difficult to actually give that full prediction. But if I had to give an edge right before this game, I am going to go ahead and give it to Nexus.
Ooh, very interesting. Okay. So, as far as your predictions, you're going to be giving it to Team Nexus, thinking that it may be a 2-1. Uh, having seen Bob's Baddies play before, I know that these are fantastic players. They play well together and they play with each other all the time. Although for Bob's Baddies, it is a little mixed match as far as some of the teams for another uh, organization. So it's going to be very interesting to see how they band together to play against this Nexus team that always plays together all the time.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, but we do have to take into consideration that both of them do have a larger uh, community around them. So even though they may not play um, directly together all of the time, they still have the overall cohesion that you would like to see in one of the better teams. So I still want to say overall, give it to the edge to Nexus, but between these two teams, it is definitely really hard to tell.
Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting to see how this particular game comes out and see who comes out on top. We are just waiting to see when these two teams are going to be matched against each other. It looks like they are in the lobby, ready to go. We are just going to be waiting until these two teams actually hit the Q snipes against each other.
It does look like Nexus does have their full squad ready to go. It just looks like we are waiting on the two captains to get their stuff together to get this moving.
And I am seeing currently that apparently the people are demanding an Osgos flex.
No sleeves, and that's an automatic request now.
Apparently, if it is, if it is from the people, we have no choice.
That is, it's a bit of a, you know,
Yeah.
it's a thing, but we got it done.
All right. And we are just going to be put on a little bit of a intermission until these two teams actually hit their Q snipes. So we shall return in just a moment. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have our game starting right now. Bob's Baddies versus Team Nexus. We are going to be starting from the side of Bob's Baddies, currently looking at KD Talks on Beater. Currently looking for a little bit of midfield control, going for a little interaction with the opposing beater, but unfortunately they do not get it. Going for a tackle that is a little bit of a miss, but a dodge on the bludger to make sure that they don't go down, sitting at currently 4 HP, just trying to stay alive, try to keep that pressure up on the Seeker game, throwing it out, and there we see an elimination on a Seeker. Jim Tones currently falling, being out of bounds, which is rather unfortunate. Currently going for some interaction on the beater side. Looks like they did unfortunately miss, but Melanor still currently in possession. We're going to be switching over to the Chasers side. We're going to be looking at the side of Illmage right now. Currently midfield, looking for a steal. Does not get it, unfortunately. Playing a little bit further back, we see the ball unfortunately get loose. Illmage with the pickup, currently flying as fast as possible. He has one person on him, has one ally away, goes for the reverse cam shot, and there we see it. The first goal of the game coming out from Illmage. Currently, OTPHJ with a goal coming out, making this now 10-10 to the side of no one being absolutely even. Currently, the Bob's Baddies are up on the Seeker chase right now. Illmage currently in possession, flying downfield, has no one immediately around him except his teammates. Unfortunately, does get hit, loses the ball, but it is picked right back up by Melanor. Looks like they are playing a little bit further, just trying to make sure they get the ball. And unfortunately, looks like he was going to go for a one-timer, but does get punched out. With a punch on OTPHJ, unfortunately, it was a little too early to stop the ball from locking on. If he had waited about a half second longer, the ball would have unlocked on the second that he got stunned. Now in the hands of Team Nexus. Flying towards the goal. Jim Tones playing on keeper, looking for any type of way to defend himself. And there we see OTPHJ get it, but it is stolen immediately back by Ilmage. Ilmage flying up the left side of the field, has a couple people on him, is running out of boost, is going to start the drift process, but he doesn't need to. Gets the dodge to a goal, putting it now 20-10 with a 90% on the snitch meter. And unfortunately, Lost Bobs goes down. So we're going to see that snitch meter drop right back down to at 85%. Currently in the hands of OTPHJ, flying upfield, passing it. It's loose. It is kicked out by Jim Tones, currently now in possession of Ilmage, flying through the ring, getting a reset on some of that boost that he's really needing. Flies up the left-hand side of the field, gets a shovel pass, but unfortunately it is picked up by Team Nexus. Goes for a shovel, unfortunately, wrong direction. And there we see Bob's Baddies coming out with the catch. Lost Bob's catching it, now putting the score 50-10 for the side of Bob's Baddies. 3 minutes and 10 seconds left in the match. Currently in possession of Melanor, passing it to Ilmage. Ilmage flying, goes for a reverse cam shot, and there we see it. The gold medal coming from Ilmage. That is 3 goals for Ilmage, with the additional 30 points from the snitch, putting the score now at 60-10, 2 minutes and 50 seconds left in this match. Currently, the ball is in possession of the OTPHJ. Ilmage going for a steal, unfortunately does not get it. Goes for a shot, but unfortunately it is kicked out by many one-timers and eventually Jim Tones on keeper. Currently in possession, Melanor passes to Ilmage. Ilmage gets the ball stolen from him. Unfortunate. And there we see it being passed upfield to Luke Turner. Luke Turner throwing it out to OTPHJ. OTPHJ going for some dodges. He looks like he went for a little bit of a shot. Unfortunately, did not get it. Currently in possession of Jim Tones, kicking it out to midfield, now in the hands of Melanor. Melanor flying upfield, going up and down, going for the dolphin technique. Unfortunately, does not work. It is picked up off the ground by Team Nexus, now in possession by Ilmage, currently flying upfield, gets the pass to Melanor. Melanor goes for a dodge, and there we see it. The 10 points, 70-10 for the side of Bob's Baddies. We see a great rotation here. Ilmage is currently playing a little bit more as a midfield chaser in this particular moment. The ball was in possession by Team Nexus, but it is stolen away.
Oh, am I back?
You are back.
Ooh.
Currently in possession of no one. It is kicked out loose by Jim Tones. Melanor has the ball. Has a couple of options of passing upfield to McJoseph, and there we see the one-timer, but it is bounced off the rim, picked up by Ilmage, kicks it right out to McJoseph, and McJoseph goes for the one-timer to put the score 80-10, 45 seconds left in this match.
Yeah, this match is all but over at this point. There would have to be a miracle or two for Nexus to come back. Let's see how they decide to switch up their game plan going into game 2. That is another score from the side of Bob's Baddies, making it 90-10 with only 20 points left, or 20 seconds left, rather, on the clock.
Yeah, especially 10 seconds left in this match. The snitch game does not look like it's going to be enough to catch it, but we do see a score coming out from Luke Turner, putting the score now 90-20, and that is going to be the first victory for Bob's Baddies in the loser bracket. Very interesting game. I think we saw that the chaser pressure coming from the side of Bob's Baddies was just oppressive going against Team Nexus.
It was. They were doing a very good job just pushing that quaffle into their opponent's hoops and getting the score. Definitely showing pretty bright out there in that first game. I'm really hoping to see a little bit of improvement aside of Nexus, to just really see what they can do in this game two.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how they turn this around or how they're going to attempt to turn it around. If you're the side of Team Nexus, what change do you think you're going to make to try to relieve some of that chaser pressure on the Quaffle game?
I mean, their beater was rightfully so sticking right on to that seeker and doing what he could to stick with them. But I think at this point, seeing that score line, there should be just a little bit more of a, or at least more than there was in the first game, push in the beater game towards the chaser game to try to just break up what they're doing from the side of Bob's Baddies.
Yeah, I kind of have to agree with you on that. It's going to be really difficult. Obviously, the chaser core here for the side of Bob's Baddies is incredible. Uh, we have McJoseph, we have uh, Melanor, and we have Ilmage. All three of these players work really, really well together. And to chat, we are sorry for the audio issues. We are trying to get that resolved as soon as possible as well.
It did. It seemed that pretty soon after that first game started, my entire mic decided it did not want to participate in tonight's festivities. I did have to go ahead and leave the call and come back. Hopefully, a little bit better on my end. I'm not quite sure what's going on, but we're doing our best to keep it moving.
All right, and it looks like these two teams are still in their talking stages, just getting their strategies work together. Trying to calm down if they need to calm down, or just hyping themselves up. Uh, I know with Bob's Baddies, several of the players on Bob's Baddies, I believe, Ilmage and KD just coming off of a victory in MSA, so they're riding high in their spirits at the moment. Okay. And we're just going to take a brief intermission while these two teams are getting the queues set up, and we shall be right back.
And we are back. We have found our game two. Now, Shocky, in the break, we did notice one thing very peculiar from Bob's Baddies. They all seem to have picked any position. What are your thoughts on that move?
No, I think this is just a team that wants to have fun, and they're looking to do anything that they can to just keep the fun and keep this game as memorable as it can be. Right now, we are watching Ilmage from the point of the beater. Currently, Jim Tones on Chaser, as well as Melanor, McJoseph, KD Talks on Keeper, and Bob's on Seeker. We are going to be switching over to Melanor on the side of the Chaser, currently in possession, flying, and does get stopped by the Keeper, unfortunately kicked out to OTPHJ.
Yeah, that was a very interesting push there. It looked like she got a little bit too close to the ring, which made it a little bit easier for that keeper to grab it. But looks like she was going to try her best to get that last tackle. Did look like she got scammed a little bit, um, which is really good for the side of Nexus, as because of that, it does look like they're able to get that first 10 points of the game.
Yeah, it was in the possession of Bob's Baddies, currently stolen away by OTPHJ, but picked up by KD Talks, kicked right out to McJoseph. Flying does have one person on him, stolen it away, and there was an intercept attempt, but unfortunately not connecting from the side of Bob's Baddies.
Yeah, Nexus is doing a good job of keeping possession going down the field right now. It does look like we do have a free ball, though, but they are going to get it picked right back up in front of the blue hoop. They go for a shot, and there is a second goal from the side of Nexus, making it 20-0.
Yeah, 20-0, 5 minutes and 4 seconds left in the match. Currently, the snitch race is very close, sitting at about 80% to 75%, currently leading from the side of Team Nexus.
Yeah, they're doing a really good job this game, just kind of keeping it downfield, keeping possession, and getting the ball into the hoop. It is still close. With a lot of time left, so it's anybody's ball game still, but they are continuing to do a very good job of keeping possession there. They do get their shot blocked, though. It was a great block. It looked like Melanor got it from the chaser position. They are going to be continuing to pass the ball back downfield, but gets intercepted once again or taken away by OTPHJ. Melanor with the ball once again. She does look to be all alone, and Los Bobs is going to come up with the snitch catch, bringing this game now to 30-20, the side of Bob's Baddies. That was a very quick turnaround.
Very quick turnaround. Currently in possession of Luke Turner, passes it back to the keeper, kicks it right on out to King Kuma. Flying does have Melanor close behind, but Melanor forced to dodge out, could not get the steal. And there we see King Kuma from the side of Nexus scoring. 3 minutes and 45 seconds left in the match. It is tied up all right now. And the keeper chase, or I'm sorry, the seeker chase is currently sitting at about 15 to 20% for both sides, just being very even.
Yeah, they're keeping it pretty close still. The last race seemed like it was a good one at that, and it's looking like that this game is going to come down to that seeker race. Obviously, the first catch not only evening it up, but putting Bob's Baddies in the lead, and we'll see if this second one can do the same thing. It
And we
does.
see 40-30 coming from the side of Bob's Baddies. Snitch race currently sitting at about 40% for both teams, very even. So this is anybody's snitch race. Melanor goes for a steal on the OTPHJ. Unfortunately, does not get it.
Oh, we do have a ring out. Melanor going to take possession of it, get it quick, get it intercepted real quick, and OTPHJ with the 10 points, tying this game back up once again. Still, obviously, anybody's game. Both teams are doing very well at evening up both sides of the game. Let's see what they have left in these last 2 minutes of play.
Yeah, a couple shovel passes coming from Melanor and Jim Tones, just shuffling it back and forth to one another. Unfortunately, does not go in. It gets stopped. Currently in possession of King Kuma. Passes to OTPHJ, one times it, but unfortunately does not have the aim exactly where he needed to. We see Jim Tones passing it up to McJoseph. McJoseph passing it up to Melanor, putting down rings to guarantee that she has all of the boost that she really needed. Goes for a pass, which is a shuffle to Jim Tones with the one timer. And there we see these teams are absolutely going at it. Bob's Baddies currently leading at about 85 to 90% on the snitch race, as opposed to Team Nexus's 75%. So this is getting very close for the side of Bob's Baddies. And Bob's Baddies is actually going to get a one-timer goal off of the kick, pushing it 60 to 40. Minute and 10 seconds left in the match, and the snitch is about to be caught from the side of Bob's Baddies, and there we see it. 90 to 40, 1 minute, 8 seconds left in this match. It is going to be, it seems like, a Bob's Baddies victory, pushing this 2-0.
Yeah, this is 100% their game to lose right now. They would have to have a string of mistakes to lose 50 points within the 50 seconds that are left. I just don't think that they have that in them, and I'm thinking that this game is going to be turned out very quickly, and it is, as I'm mentioning it, Bob's Baddies taking this second game 100 to 40.
And there we have it. Bob's Baddies coming out on top with the victory, 2-0 as far as the rounds are concerned. How are we feeling about that game, Osgos?
That was a very entertaining game to watch. Bob's Baddies really pulling it out, really extending their lead kind of right in the middle of that game and just cementing it there towards the end. They all played very well, especially considering that any roll call. It did look like KD Tox was a little bit uncomfortable at the keeper position, but the rest of the team luckily was able to keep the ball for the majority of the game on the other side of the pitch and just allowed them to just continuing putting up those numbers.
Yeah, and we see these teams just having fun as much as possible, just going out there, flying on the pitch, just trying to make sure that they have as much fun as humanly possible. We are going to be setting up for interviews after the game. It looks like we are going to be trying to get interviews with both teams. We are going to see if we can get the interview with Bob's Baddies first, and then we will try to get our interviews with Team Nexus. So please stick around. We'll be right back after this brief intermission. And
right,
we are back with our interviews from the winning team. We are currently joined by Los Bobs and the wonderful KD Talks. How are you two doing today?
Me back, getting me feeling warmed up for tonight's games, and was just able to have fun tonight. It was great.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
pretty much.
KD, how are you feeling?
Feeling pretty good. I'm coming off of 2 wins today, one with Wingardians and one with the Baddies, so doing pretty good.
Now, the one thing that I noticed, both from your previous game and this game, it looks like for the first round, you guys go with your standard positions, but the second round, you always go all any position. Is there a thought that goes into that, or like a calling card for you guys?
Well, as like Oscar said before we were back live, it's just kind of becoming a staple, and I think we're honestly going to keep it, and we're going to run with it. It's always just kind of been, let's take the first game serious, get it out of the way. If we win, great. If we don't, whatever. Second game, we're reminding ourselves to have fun, and we go all in, and we let the RNG gods decide.
Yeah, I mean, either way, you guys played a very, very good game. Both matches. I mean, always fun to watch you guys, even though it does seem like you guys have a little bit of a trolly spirit to it every once in a while. But you guys always seem to keep everything very light, very, very jovial as a group. Do you attribute that at all to like your play style on the field and just kind of how you get going at the beginning of the day?
I think the jokes are a great way to just keep spirits up, so even when we lose, we're still having fun.
And I think when I'm playing Chaser, even though I didn't get to do that tonight, the Chaser game is just very fast with us. It's a lot of team play, whether it's a simple pass or whether it's a pass off the wall trying to hit some clip. It's just plain fun. So it's always good.
Now, y'all are a mix of a couple of different L7 teams, and obviously it seems like you guys like to have fun. We never watched McJoseph's stream share just because he was playing Balatro and Among Us simultaneously. Do you guys just always kind of have that like fun, jovial, like, yeah, we'll let Tim play chess while we're playing this game. It's fine.
Pretty much. Katie, any thoughts on that?
I mean, yeah, pretty much. I don't have the skill to be able to play 3 games at once, so I didn't try it. But if you can do it, go for it.
Yeah, I guess I'll hit you guys with at least one more question on my end. Um, it did kind of look like towards that at least towards the end of that second game, uh, even though everybody is having fun, you guys were really kind of going hard in the paint down on the other side of the field, which which I think definitely attributed towards the win there. Um, was that also kind of part of your game plan, or did it just so happen that everything was kind of going well while you were having fun?
I think honestly, it's just, we started feeling warm. We had a couple matches before we actually did our MSA matches so we could warm up. I think, first game, whether people admit to it or not, there's always a little bit of jitters, and then you kind of just settle in, and we just settled much better in the second game than we did the first, and we were able to get through it faster.
Fantastic. Osgoz, could you do me a favor and ask our final statement question that you put so eloquently well?
All right. So just like last week, guys, what we're going to be looking for here is any final thoughts, statements, either for your teammates, for those watching at home, for your opponents in tonight's match. Just kind of anything to wrap it up here for the evening.
I'll let KD go first.
Sure. I guess just in general to everybody is keep trying to have fun. I know it can be rough right now with QC and we're losing a lot of players, but if we keep having fun, we can maybe keep it alive a little longer.
And on a little bit of a brighter note than KD,
Sorry, I'm super negative. That's why Tox is in the name.
shout out to Nexus. It was a great match tonight. It was still very fun. And to everyone else, anyone playing in MSA, we plan on playing you again. And we will claw our ways back to the championship. Thank you very much.
Wonderful, wonderful. It does look to me that Shockey is having a little bit of an issue on his connection side right now.
He's a robot.
Yeah, and he's kind of looks like he's doing some strange dance moves on the stream right now. So what we're gonna go ahead and do is go into a very quick intermission while we get ready to talk to some of the folks at Nexus. Thank you guys once again for the great game, and thank you for coming and talking to us.
Hey, absolutely. Y'all have a great night. Thanks for having us.
Thanks.
And we shall be right back.
right, we are back once again, everybody. We are joined by both Riley and the OTPHJ. Welcome in, welcome in. That was a great match. How are you guys feeling after the end of those two games?
I'm feeling really relieved because a lot of our people were spread thin in between the two. So it sucks that it's over, but I'm also really relieved.
I'm feeling good.
Fair.
Also agree. Sucks that it's over. I just love playing Quidditch, so I'm just happy to be along for the ride, jumping on my favorite team outside of my own RQC league team to cheer for. That is Nexus. So I was happy Riley and Jolva and squad brought me on to be a part of their end of season run here.
Mhm.
Now, going into the actual games here, obviously the first game, coming off of a loss, going into game two, what was like your thoughts, or like what kind of strategies were you trying to adjust going into game two?
So our setup was kind of sort of thrown together last minute. So we didn't have too high of expectations. None of us have got to practice together other than the occasional gameplay. And we weren't even sure if we would get Luke to play because he had a game today. So once we got last minute word that he could play, we were hyped and we were excited, and we changed out some players and everything. But honestly, the name of the game today was just to have fun and just play. And if we win, we win. If we don't, we don't. It is what it is, because we all knew none of us have practiced together, and none of us had really any idea of like who we were going up against until today. So um
Yeah, I'll add to that. Like that's what I love about Nexus and what Riley's doing is just giving people like a chance to play. So we had a couple newer players, I guess, or newer for me that I've never seen or played with come in game one, and they held their own and they played great. And then we brought in Riley, came back in to beat Jolva Seeking and Bearman Keep. And then I would say in terms of pivoting after game one, it was Chaser game. We're new. I mean, Luke and I have played together for a long time, since the early days, but first time playing with Kuma, so we were starting to get a sense of rotation, Seeker game, who's going to be covering what. Luke's our defensive goat, so he was kind of playing Chaser 3 game, while I was more midfield, but I knew I had to come back and obviously target Ilmage, right? Like you look at that roster, some of the best players in general, Chasers in the league. So I think Luke and I are pretty deadly at tackle combo, and then to get the ball up the field to Kuma led to the better success there in game 2.
Yeah, then you did make note of that roster going in, and you mentioned how you didn't really have a lot of time to practice together, but like even pre-match when you were kind of had an idea of who you were going against, was there any particular player that you guys were I don't want to say singling out beforehand, but any particular player on their team that you went, okay, they're there, let's
All
let's
of them.
kind of make sure
I
that's
must say,
very
yeah.
fair.
Yeah, so for the first game, the reason why Jova was beater is because he has been hand training Cash God, whose server's name is Sheesh. But Jova has been training him up in secret, kinda, and we just thought they had a better relationship. And Jova has a very different. I'm a bludger beater, not a tackle beater. And the most appropriate thing we needed at that time was a tackle beater, so it just made sense to throw Jova in there. We mostly were looking at play styles and who would kind of be like the better fit. We wanted to give Larry and Sheesh the opportunity to kind of get a taste of a competition game, especially since they're both going to be around for season 2. That's still going to happen. I don't care what anyone says. But so it was just mostly just making sure that if there's going to be some synergy happening. That was our main focus, because everybody on that team was absolutely badass.
Yeah, and I'll add to that. Like, obviously, you got to signal out Ilmage whenever you see him.
Ew.
But I mean, I mean, I'm gonna say it as it is. And then another one was actually Tim Jones. We were all like, "Oh shit," because like part of my French, he hasn't been on or haven't seen him on as often. And Joel was first to say, like, "Man, I played him the other day as beater, and like he was nasty." So I don't even know if he beat it all, but between him, like Katie talks, like Melanor, she's always whether she's beating or tackling you, right? Like we were obviously afraid of a mix of offense, but also just really strong, rough, violent players, I'll say.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you. Now, unfortunately, this was the losers bracket, which means that Team Nexus is eliminated from the MSA tournament. How are you feeling going into subsequent seasons for MSA? Do you think you guys have a better handle on kind of like your team and like your mechanics going into like quote unquote season 2 for MSA? Or is it going to be, we're going to practice a little bit more and then we're going to come at this and we're going to win the whole thing?
As of right now, Nexus has no plans of continuing with MSA because we have 5 teams and we're really just kind of focusing on building those bonds together and making sure there's synergy. If MSA happens to happen at the same time, that's something we could consider. But it's just not on our radar right now. It's mostly building up these 5 teams and just getting everyone together.
Yeah, no, I will say from my point of view, this is my first taste of MSA. I'm a newer player in general to League 7, joining Revenants RQC, and I brought a few of my friends with me. So we're kind of expanding. We're looking at getting about 3 RQC teams as the plan for the 5v5 tournament. And I wouldn't be surprised to see us get an MSA team going for next season.
Okay. And Osgaz, if you would please.
All right. So as we like to round out all of these little segments, do either one of you or both of you have any final words, comments for your teammates, your opponents, the folks in chat? Just basically anything goes to wrap up this matchup tonight.
Just the Nexus slogan is every loss is a lesson learned, and that every win is a sign of potential. And this has definitely been a huge lesson.
Yeah, and I'll say again, just echoing, I love what Nexus is doing. People like Riley, I think, are the reason why the game is still alive, to be honest, and why I still have hope for things to continue that way. Growing the player base, putting in the hours, training players. Hell, that's how I got here. I was a noob in like November, December, playing full Zoom settings, no vertical tilt, didn't know what I was doing. And it was Jolva to message me and say, "Hey, bro, like you've gotten insanely good at Seeker. Like hop on with me." Showed me a few things, and here we are. So I'll say thank you again, Riley Nexus, having me on here. It was a lot of fun, and keep doing what you guys are doing. And let's pray that this game is not cooked because it's great.
It's not. It's not. It's not.
All right, I love the optimism. I love it.
All right. Well, I do want to thank you both for stopping in for the interview. And I want to thank everybody who has watched, as well as my co-caster, Osgaz. It has been a fantastic night. Unfortunately, that is a loss for Team Nexus. But as they have stated, every loss is a lesson learned. And I hope we all learn some lessons. With that being said, I thank everyone for stopping by. I want to thank Team Nexus for coming into the interview. And we shall see you all next time.
Happy Christmas, Harry. Happy Christmas, Ron.